What's up there, my friends? How's it going tonight? I guess this is a late night video for me. It's past midnight. I rarely make videos, even remotely this late. In fact, I can't even remember the last time I did, if ever. But it's just been one of those evenings. I felt a little bit motivated. Maybe I took my crate dose a little too late. But anyhow, I went out in the garage and I set up this, earlier today I cleaned out the garage area, and I have this big built-in kind of cabinet thing, and I cleared off the whole top and turned it into kind of like an art studio, if you will, a place for me to do, whether it's beading necklaces or doing Fimo art or my new resin art that I'm doing. I have a place to do that. So I went out there and I did a bunch of resin art, and I was thinking out there about, a lot of things. It's like when I'm when I'm amidst doing something that I'm really focused on, I tend to do a lot of thinking, and that's why I do it. I used to listen to music all the time, but especially when I'm driving in my car or when I'm doing a project. Now I might listen to like classical music, and once in a while I'll listen to tunes if I really need to get going and get some housework done, something like that. But when it comes to, working in my office, I tend to be very subdued and quiet. And I've realized over the years it's because having kids, you don't have a lot of time to think. Your kids are always like, Papa, Dad, 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 this, Dad, this. And you're on the run, but you're also listening. You're always listening. So it's like when you can just be quiet, you can clear your mind. It's funny because that line of clear your mind, it reminded me of what I was originally, I have a video planned. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow, but I just didn't want to do it tonight. It was about psychedelics. And it's something, I posted something earlier today on Facebook about if psychedelics allow you to turn off your brain so you can use your mind or something to that extent. And the idea that it shuts down it basically shuts down the processing part of your brain and then connects other parts of your brain that don't usually communicate. And there's a lot of science behind this now. And it's a fascinating glimpse of who we are. And one of the most prominent aspects of that experience, or the psychedelic trip, if you will, is this overwhelming desire to be a better person. And I find myself throughout the years, ever since I was a teenager and I was experimenting, I thought, I want to be the best person I can be. I want to be a person that people can count on. And I want to be honest, straightforward. Never steal from a friend, never rob anybody, rip anybody off, just be a good citizen. And when I was younger, I would steal from grocery stores and stuff and justify it by, oh, well, it's a grocery store, they have insurance. And over the years, learning that, well, it affects us all as a society. And now, even if I have the opportunity, I don't steal, from anybody, because I don't have it. There's nothing that to me is worth gaining that it would be worth stealing to me, the guilt that I would have. It's the same thing in a relationship. I've been with my wife for 20 years, and when people talk about, oh, they could cheat, they could get away with cheating, it's like, I have no desire to cheat. But even if I did, the guilt would eat me up for the rest of my life, and I wouldn't be able to do that, because I'm a person who, I want people to depend on me, but more than that, I want to feel like I'm a good person. And it's a complicated thing to be a good person, Some people are very insecure about who they are, so they do weird things. They might, try to impress others by saying things they ordinarily wouldn't, or doing things they wouldn't. The peer pressure, aspect of it. And I think all of us have probably succumbed to that at one time or another in our lives. But in general, I guess I don't want to ramble too much, off the psychedelic aspect that I mentioned. It was because the betterment aspect, that we want to better ourselves, and that sometimes we just kind of put that on the back burner. And then we say we're good enough. We do our thing. Hey man, I go to work. I come home. What do you want from me, self? But when you go on a psychedelic journey, time can slow down, and you can think about a lot of really important, deep things. Now, this, of course, is different if you're at a rave or partying or something. It's when you're using it as the tool, and you're at home, and you're calmly listening. When I usually, if I'm going to listen to music, which I love music, during that experience, I will try to listen to something without lyrics, because the words that form in my mind help me to understand myself better. And so, in my daily life, because I rarely take anything like that, but in my daily life, I remember those experiences, and I try to carry that on. And so, when I make a video on YouTube, for example, I might talk about whatever's on my mind, but I usually consider a societal aspect of it. In other words, when I make a video, I make it with the intention of helping people in some way. And maybe that sounds arrogant, but it's just, you know, for me, that's what YouTube is. That's why I was, you know, when I wrote YouTube about my channel being shut down, my other channel, I said, you know, I don't know, maybe this channel, depending on which one I'm uploading this to, I don't know. And by the way, I just hit 1,000 subscribers on the other channel, on the channel that I've been using. So it's kind of funny. I was thinking about, hey, celebrate 1,000 subscribers. But, you know, the other one has, you know, 15,000 subscribers. And I found that interesting because, to me, I don't really care much about the numbers at all. It's about the people. And I have just as many views on these videos on this channel as I do on the other channel. And this channel had like 500 subscribers because it was my Kratom channel before this. And now I turned it into my regular channel, and now I just hit 1,000. So that means most of the 500 people or so that watch my videos came over to this channel. And my other channel, you know, who knows? Many of those accounts, double accounts, sock accounts, troll accounts, accounts that aren't used anymore, people who subscribe but don't watch anymore. Who knows? But it's nice to kind of, I don't know, consolidate the people who actually watch onto this channel, because of the fact that I think most of you know that, you know, I'm not an arrogant person. I try to be kind. I try to be nice to people. But I also have kind of a distant, like, fuck off attitude. If you piss me off, if you push my buttons, if you, you know, and if we don't agree on something, that's different. You know, I love to discuss an issue, but sometimes I guess I can be a little overbearing, and that's what it is for me. YouTube, making videos and speaking my mind, and at the same time wanting to get something across that people can resonate with, that people can understand. I still feel awkward making videos. You know, at least a portion of the time, maybe half the time these days, when I make a video like this, I just delete it. And I won't delete this one. I'll upload it. But it's because I make a video and I think, oh, I just rambled about this and that. But I've learned over the years that when I upload a video that I say, oh, I shouldn't even upload that video, it always seems to be the one that resonates with someone. And I have this strange synchronicity with people on YouTube, and a lot of folks have talked about this, and I'm sure it's the same with any other. This drive bugging me. I have my OCD. Okay, whoops! I bumped the camera and turned it off. Anyhow, yeah, there was a piece of dirt on the couch over here, and my OCD type attitude was bugging me. I don't like to say OCD because that's not what it is. I don't like to label these things, but anyhow, going back to what I was saying, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. The point being that I want to help people in my own way, but I feel very humble in the sense that I don't, you know, I joke around maybe about like advice and whatnot and say, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and in a lot of ways that's true, but in some ways I do realize that I have a certain obligation to help people who ask for help, people who are less fortunate and really do need stability in their lives. And I say that from, really from the bottom of my heart, because I've had dozens, at least a couple dozen emails, very personal emails from people, telling me their life story and their situation, and it's really hard for me to reply, because I'd get a lot of emails plus a lot of work and whatnot, but I always reply to every email I get. And so when I get one like that, I really have to think it over. And at least a handful, and probably a dozen people have sent me emails saying that they're suicidal, or personal messages. And it's a huge burden, It's like you want to help people, you want to tell them it's all good, don't worry about it. Life's hard, but it's different, when you're that person. I understand that life can get really rough. There have been times when I'm really sick, or I had really bad sciatica for years, or even times when I have a really splitting headache. Some mornings I wake up with the worst headache, and it goes on, for most of the day. At those times, I think about people who have that all the time. I'm grateful that I don't feel that way all the time, and I try to think, wow, I can see why people would want to give up. If you're in extreme pain and you're terminal, I've always said, fight it out. But hey, man, if you were that bad and you wanted to end it for yourself, hey, so be it. Life is complicated, is what I'm saying. It's easy for us to judge other people for whatnot, but if you've been through physical pain, you know that life is precious. You know that life is short, and you have to enjoy every moment you can. And as I say that, I feel my shoulder acting up. I found a way to sleep on my pillow where it's not so bad, but I had felt like what they'd call bursitis, I guess, and it's where the muscle comes out, or the shoulder, and it went down my arm, and I could feel it. And now it went all the way down my arm, and then now it was gone. Now it's back again, and it's annoying. Pain is annoying. Being in this world can be painful. Being in this world is painful, and that's why no matter what, I step away from YouTube for a while, and I come back because I want to share these things, because I feel like there's so many of you out there who are in the same fucking situation of trying to understand what this world is, and saying, well, I've got it figured out, for a little while, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, fuck, I don't know shit. And then you go back to the drawing board and you learn a little bit more. I've never felt like I really know the answers. It's just that you think, okay, well, if I focus on this and I do this with my life, and go down this path, whether it be career, friends, family, whatever it might be, then everything will just be fine. And even if everything goes fine, then the novelty wears off, let's say. And then you're like, well, what's next? What's next? And that's not everyone. I know that. I'm a novelty seeker beyond. When people talk about addictive personalities, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that people who tend to be more addicted have tend to be more intelligent. Now, don't quote me on this. I'm not sitting here saying this is absolutely true. But people who tend to be more, have more of an addictive personality, have a correlation with intelligence. And it's because it's not addiction. People are misusing the word. Now, addiction means using a substance or having a habit or behavior that you continue to do in spite of the fact that it's causing you turmoil or problems in your daily life. Now, see, I smoke cannabis daily, but I'm not addicted to it. I've quit it before. It's not physically addictive and hardly mentally addictive. I smoke it because I enjoy it. And sometimes I smoke a lot less, sometimes more. And I used to think, well, I'm addicted to cannabis, but that's not the right word. I have a there is a word for it, but it's a habit. It is something that I do, but that's beside the point. We call vaping an addiction, and so be it if it is. But I grew up being told that nicotine is more addictive than heroin. You know who spread that lie? The tobacco companies. And I can guarantee you that. What a great thing to believe. Well, this keeps all the smokers smoking, right? Anyhow, but you only want to spread that to the smokers. And I was a 25-year smoker, and now I vape, so. So anyhow, I could ramble on and on and on. I guess I'm just going to end this video because I'll probably talk too long. And I can see that it's already at like almost 16 minutes. I want to get to the point here. I already have, but I haven't really consolidated my ideas, which is that, you know, I feel like I enjoy talking. I have not the gift of gab, I guess, but the ability to coherently place my words in a way that people can understand. Some people, at least. To others, I seem like a pretentious asshole. I don't really give a fuck, you know. If you think I'm a jerk, then fuck off. I don't care. You know, I don't I don't play games. There have been times in my life where I've been like, hey man, it's cool, whatever. That was the other side of what I was talking about earlier when I said I'm a really nice guy, I'm really easygoing, and I love to help people. But if you cross me, fuck you, you know. And that preserves my energy for things that I need to do in life. I'm not a person who really gives a fuck much what people think of me. But at the same time, I care about how my peers view me, if that makes sense. Because, of course, you don't want to be the jerk. You could pretend like you don't care what others think of you, but you're completely full of shit if you really think that you can get through life with everyone disliking you. So, there's a difference there. You can get through life, but you'll be miserable, you know. I mean, there are some real jerks out there, and they continue to be jerks. We've all met the grumpy old men who are just never happy. Some of these people are never given a chance. Some of these people have had really rough lives. I've met some people who have just torn into me over some random video I'd make about something, and I'd say, you know, what's up? You know, what are you so upset about? And people want to talk. They want to talk with one another because they have nobody in their life. Everybody has the internet. Let me tell you this. I believe, now thinking about it, more people have cell phones and the internet than have access to cell phones and the internet than have access to somebody who will listen to them, somebody who will talk them through their problems. And, you know, I know a lot of people in my life who